Have you ever begun a positive new habit, gotten all gung-ho and motivated, and did it for a few days, a week, even 2 weeks? But then over time, your motivation seemed to lag, and before you knew it, you were no longer regularly doing that positive new habit. You slipped back into your old ways, whether waking up too late, not exercising in the morning as you planned, etc. And everything goes by the wayside. And that is a phenomenon that happens to so many of us when we set New Year's resolutions. Everyone thinks, oh, it's the brand new year, January 1st. I'm going to do X, Y, Z this year. This is the year, and I've heard this from people. This is the year I'm going to lose those 15 pounds. This is the year I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. And you make that commitment, you're all jazzed. But what happens? You don't have a system, as James Clear says in Atomic Habits, which we're talking about today, part 2. If you don't have a system, if you don't have powerful strategies to support you, it's very difficult to make those habits stick. So how can we solve this? Well, today I'm going to share with you 6 powerful strategies that James Clear talks about in this book, Atomic Habits, in chapters 5 through 10. And these are 6 particular strategies that stood out to me during my reading, so I wanted to share them with you. Because this is the way you make habits stick. This is the solution. Okay, habit number 1 is to schedule the new behavior, the new habit. What does this mean? You take your calendar, whether it's print. I use this print calendar planner pad. It's called the planner pad I've been using for years because I need to see it, visually see it in my environment. I also use a digital calendar, but it just doesn't seem to be as effective. So you schedule it in your planner pad. You don't just think to yourself, okay, you make a mental commitment. This week I'm going to go to the gym 3 times. You need to put it down Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the specific time. Because that is the first brick, you could say, in this foundation of laying this foundation for these habits to make them stick. The second brick, I would say, to make these habits stick is to stack it, as James Clear talks about, stack it onto another behavior that you are already doing regularly. Now for me, and it could be just, it doesn't even have to be a habit, but it's something that you do. For example, for me, when I get out of bed after meditating, after first I wake up, then I meditate and do a couple of other things. As soon as my feet hit the floor, then I turn around and I start making my bed. That's the habit, stacking that habit to waking up and putting my feet on the floor because I want the bed to be made right away so I don't think about it. It's done within the first 2 minutes. So that's an example of stacking a habit. Do something and tack on a new behavior onto something that you're already doing unconsciously, that you've already been doing for a while. So that's brick or found strategy number 2. A strategy number 3 is to time it right, as James Clear says. And what he means by this is that you schedule this new habit, this new behavior at a time that you're most likely to stick with it. Now for me, I can give you a quick example. When I was on the cusp of turning 25 and I decided that I wanted to commit to doing aerobic exercise every day for the rest of my life or as long as I could, initially I would jog in the afternoons. After grad school was at the time, or it was maybe had already finished grad school or the job that I was in at the time. But what I found was, even though I made that commitment, afternoons were more difficult because people would call up to go to happy hour, friends, later in the afternoon at the time I was just getting started to go jog, or whatever the case may be, just phone calls, etc. So I switched to the morning, and that way I was able to be consistent because no one was calling me between 5 and 6 a.m. in the morning. No one was asking to go to happy hour at that time. So I found a time that was much more which is much easier to stick with. So that's the next critical element or strategy for building this foundation of making habits stick. Then the next habit, number 4, or it's not habit, strategy, is to design your environment to support this new behavior. What does he mean by this? Well, if you decide that you're going to work out in the mornings, or a particular set of mornings, then put your workout clothing in sight when you wake up in the morning, so it's there to remind you. Or if you're going to do exercise at home, say you're doing a home yoga practice, put your mat, put your blocks, your props out there in sight, in your environment, as a cue to remind you that, this is what you're committed to. Now, I've done this recently on just a minor thing. For years I've been I select tarot cards as an inspirational practice in the morning. But because I had not really set it as part of an automatic behavior and stacked it with other behaviors, I was often forgetting to do it. So then what I did was I set out the tarot deck in its pouch in a visible spot in my bedroom, and then I stacked it onto the habit after I finished making my bed and washing my face. It's right there ready to go. So I set it out in my environment. Had to have that cue. So something similar, workout clothes, or if you want to jump right into your writing or whatever your work on your desk, have everything ready to go. Design your environment to support the behavior. Then strategy number 5, an important one in creating good habits, and this also applies to creating bad habits and why some people create bad habits, is they're around people who support that behavior. Now, if you want a positive behavior, whether it's walking more, exercising more, reading more, if you want to read more, join a book club. That will hopefully encourage you to read the book. And luckily I'm in a book club now where the members actually read the book and we support each other and everyone does. It's a really good environment. So something like that, or if you want to walk more, explore cities, join a meetup group, like a walking group. Join a group of like-minded people, because being around those people will encourage you to continue that behavior. And then finally, and this is a really good one and something I hadn't thought of all the time, is to reframe the difficult new habits. For example, if you, and this is one I'm still working on, I have to admit, if you want to keep your environment uncluttered, but sometimes you feel like you don't get around to putting everything away all the time, and then you think, I have to declutter, I have to clean my toilet. You've probably heard this phrase before, but instead of saying I have to, say I get to. Because when I get to clean the toilet or declutter or do the laundry, even though I don't feel like doing it at this time, just reframe it. You get to do this, and then you will get the benefit of that goes along with it. If you declutter, you're going to have a nice, spacious environment, and it does lift your energy. It really gives you an energy boost. Or you have a clean toilet, you won't worry about people dropping by, that everything's ready, so you get to enjoy that cleanliness, etc. So shift the difficult new habit. If it's something that doesn't come naturally to you, but you'll benefit from it, change your definition of it from have to get to. So tell me this week, drop in the comments, what habit you plan to implement in the next week or two, and share with me which one or two of these strategies you are using to get that habit in place, to build the foundation. And if you have any concerns or challenges, also share those in the comments section. And I will also, if you missed part 1 of this series of the Atomic Habits book discussion, I will drop a link in the notes so you can click right on it there. I also click here. You can click here in the video and I'll put it there as well. So until next time, remember, you're a shining star no matter who you are, shining bright to see for what you can truly be.